I found out about the group chat by accident, which felt appropriate given how most things with my family happened. Sideways, overheard, never directly addressed. It was a Sunday afternoon in late March. I was at my parents' house, sitting at the kitchen counter with my laptop open, finishing a quarterly report for work. I'd come over early to help my mom organize some old tax folders. The house was loud in that familiar way. Television on too high, the dryer thumping, my father humming off-key while flipping through the newspaper. My sister Lena stood near the sink, phone in hand, laughing quietly to herself. "Did you see what Mom just sent?" she said, not looking up. I assumed she meant a text to the family thread we'd always had. There were 5 of us, Mom, Dad, Lena, our younger brother Mark, and me. It had existed for years. Birthdays, reminders, passive-aggressive comments about who hadn't called recently. Nothing special. "No," I said. "I've been working." She smiled in that distracted way she had when she was already deep in something else. "I'll show you later." She didn't. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. My mom came in from the garage, wiping her hands on a rag. "Oh, did you see the video I sent?" she asked Lena. Lena laughed again. "Years. Yeah, I told you that was a good idea." I stopped bowing. My mother glanced at me. "You didn't say anything?" I looked up from my screen. "Say anything about what?" There was a brief pause. The kind that doesn't register as dramatic in the moment, but leaves a mark once you replay it later. "Oh," my mom said. "I thought you'd seen it." "Seen what?" I asked. Lena finally looked at me. Just for a second. Then she shrugged. "It's nothing. Just a family thing." That should have been the end of it. In my family thing was often code for something unnecessary or mildly uncomfortable. I'd learned long ago not to press. But later that evening, after I'd driven home, my phone buzzed with a notification, not from our usual family chat, but from Mark. "Mark, hey, did Lena tell you about the group chat?" I stared at the message longer than I needed to. Me. What group chat? The 3 dots appeared. Add, disappeared, appeared again. Mark. Never mind. I thought you knew. I set the phone down. I didn't text back. I finished my report, closed my laptop, and made dinner. The feeling that settled in wasn't anger. It was recognition. A familiar alignment of details I'd learned to pay attention to. Lena had always been good at organizing people. She planned holidays, coordinated gifts, curated the way our family looked from the outside. She had the kind of confidence that filled space easily. People deferred to her without realizing they were doing it. I was the opposite. Quiet, observant. I worked in compliance for a mid-sized firm. My job was to notice patterns, track discrepancies, and document everything without making noise. At family gatherings, I was the one refilling drinks, clearing plates, listening more than talking. That dynamic had worked fine for years, until it didn't. Over the next few weeks, small things began to shift. I'd hear references to conversations I hadn't been part of. "Like we said in the chat," Lena would say casually during Sunday dinner. "Didn't we already decide this?" my dad would add. "Decide what?" I wondered. "When?" Once, my mom asked why I hadn't responded to a message about Easter plans. I showed her my phone. There was nothing there. "Oh," she said slowly. "Maybe I sent it in the other one." "The other one?" I asked. Lena cut in smoothly. "It's just easier. Fewer notifications." I nodded. I didn't argue. I didn't ask to be added. That was important. Because if you ask, people get careful. Instead, I started paying attention. On April 4th, Lena posted a photo on Facebook, a group shot from Mark's apartment. Mom, Dad, Mark, Lena. Caption, family night. I had been home that night, eating leftovers and watching a documentary. I hadn't been invited. On April 12th, my mother mentioned that we had agreed to help Lena with a short-term loan for a home renovation project. The way she said "we" suggested consensus. "How much?" I asked. "Just $25,000, she said, like she was talking about groceries. "Your father and I are covering most of it. Mark's pitching in a bit." She didn't look at me when she said it. I wasn't aware, I replied. Lena smiled. We talked about it in the chat. Of course you did. I went home that night and wrote the date down in a notebook I kept for work spillover. Old habit, April 12th. Loan discussed. Amount, $25,000. Decision made without me. I didn't know yet why that mattered. I only knew that it did. The joke started soon after. At Mark's birthday dinner, Lena raised her glass and laughed. Well, if anything goes wrong, we know who's not paying attention to the family chat. Everyone laughed, including Mark, including my parents. I smiled politely and took a sip of water. Inside, I noted the timing, the audience, the phrasing. Public, casual, framed as humor. Abuse doesn't always come with sharp edges. Sometimes it arrives smiling, confident that no one will challenge it. The group chat became a kind of invisible authority. Decisions were made there. Opinions formed. Narratives agreed upon. I existed outside of it, increasingly out of sync. When I did speak up, rarely, it was treated like an interruption. We already covered that, Lena would say. Or, you must have missed the message. Once, she added lightly, that's what happens when you're not very active. I wasn't inactive, I was excluded. An exclusion, when done quietly enough, makes people doubt their own position. The first time I saw proof was in late May. I was at my parents' house again, helping my dad update some software on his desktop. He stepped away to take a call, leaving his phone on the desk. It lit up with a notification banner. Lena, I'll handle it. No need to involve her. I didn't touch the phone. I didn't lean closer. I didn't react, but I read it. The message preview disappeared seconds later. When my dad came back, I finished what I was doing and packed up to leave. He thanked me, distracted. Driving home, I replayed the sentence in my mind. No need to involve her. Not me. Her. That night, I opened a new folder on my laptop. Neutral name. Nothing emotional. Just a place to store information. I didn't know yet what I would put there. I only knew I would. The turning point, the moment I chose silence instead of confrontation, came a week later. Lena called me directly, which was unusual. I just wanted to give you a heads up, she said, voice bright. We're putting together a little family video. You know, memories, updates, that kind of thing. Mom's idea. Okay, I said. It's mostly stuff from the past year. Trips, gatherings, nothing formal. Am I supposed to send something? I asked. There was a pause. Not long. Just long enough. Oh, she said. We already have plenty. I pictured the Facebook photos. Dinners. The conversations I hadn't been part of. Sounds good, I replied. She seemed relieved. Great. I knew you'd understand. After we hung up, I sat in my car for a long time without starting the engine. Understanding, I realized, was exactly what she was counting on. And for the first time, instead of explaining myself or asking to be included, I let her believe she was right. I chose silence. Not because I had nothing to say, but because I was finally ready to listen. Silence has a way of sharpening perception. Once I stopped trying to keep up, the shape of what was happening became clearer. I wasn't reacting, so I had time to observe. Patterns emerged quickly when I let them. The family video Lena mentioned arrived 2 weeks later, delivered as a private YouTube link with the subject line, "For Us, Inc." It came from my mother's email, sent to all of us individually as if that made it equal. I watched it alone on a Tuesday night, volume low. It was 12 minutes long, carefully edited. Background music chosen for warmth, photos and short clips stitched together in chronological order. Birthdays, holidays, group dinners, a weekend trip to Napa, a barbecue in Mark's backyard, Lena laughing into the camera, my parents waving, Mark holding up a drink. I appeared exactly once. A still photo from 3 years earlier, cropped. No voiceover mentioned my name. When the video ended, the comments section filled up fast. So grateful for our family. Love us. Couldn't ask for better kids. Lena replied to each comment with a heart. I closed the tab. I didn't comment. I didn't mention it, but I saved the link. Then I saved the video file. Then I wrote down the upload date, the description text, and the names of the accounts that had access. Receipts don't always look dramatic when you collect them. Sometimes they look like archives. The next shift happened quietly. My parents started calling me less, not dramatically less, just enough to be noticeable. When they did call, conversations felt pre-recorded. Decisions had already been made, opinions already formed. I wasn't being consulted. I was being informed. On June 3rd, my mom called to tell me Lena's renovation was almost done and running a bit over budget. How much over? I asked. She hesitated. Another $15,000. I did the math quickly. So 40 total? Well, she said, we're covering it. It's fine. On June 21st, she forwarded me an email by mistake. The subject line read, Family Update. Please review before sending. It wasn't meant for me. That was clear from the opening line. I think we should keep this between us for now. No need to involve her yet. It'll just complicate things. Her name was signed at the bottom. I didn't respond. Instead, I saved the email. Full headers, metadata intact. Then I wrote down the date and time. June 21st, 9:14 a.m., 2 weeks later. My father called me unexpectedly. I wanted to check in, he said. His voice sounded tired. Okay, I replied. There's been some tension, he continued. With money, with communication. I waited. Your sister feels like you're distant, he said. Like you're not participating. I wasn't aware participation was required, I said evenly. He sighed. She's doing a lot for the family. I don't doubt that, I replied. The call ended shortly after. No resolution, no confrontation. But something important happened that day. My father emailed me a document. Thought you might want a copy, he wrote. It was a summary of the renovation expenses, line items, invoices, payment sources. I recognized some of the numbers. Others were new. One line caught my attention. Consulting fee, media coordination, $8,500. I stared at it. Media coordination. I searched the invoice number online. It led to a small LLC registered to Lena's name. She wasn't just receiving money. She was billing it. I didn't jump to conclusions. I pulled the registration records, public information, dates, air days. The LLC had been formed 8 months earlier. 8 months. Before the group chat, before the renovation, before the family video. See, I opened my folder and added a new subfolder, LLC. Then, on July 9th, everything clicked into place. Mark called me late that night. He sounded nervous. Can I ask you something? He said. I didn't watch the video right away. That was a decision, not hesitation. In my line of work, you never rush the most important piece of evidence. You secure it, you verify it, and you wait until you know exactly how and when it needs to be used. I spent the next 2 days building context around it instead. First, I backed the file up in 3 places: CGEP, encrypted drive, cloud storage, external hard drive. Then I checked the metadata, creation date, device ID, ED, resolution. No edits, no cuts, raw screen recording. Mark hadn't altered anything. Next, I mapped timelines, the LLC registration, the renovation payments, the creation of the family group chat, the release of the curated video, the increase in spending, the shift in how my parents spoke to me, dull, the jokes, the exclusion. None of it was random. When I finally pressed play, it was exactly what I expected. The video opened on Lena's phone screen. The family group chat title was visible at the top. A name I hadn't seen before. Core Fam Ed. My name wasn't listed. Messages scrolled past quickly as Lena swiped, narrating casually to Mark off camera. See? This is where I keep everything, she said. Way easier than looping everyone in. Then she paused on a message. She's getting too analytical lately. Let's not bring her into the money stuff. Another swipe. If she asks, just say, "We already decided." Another. She doesn't need to see the numbers. It'll just create questions. Then the camera shifted. It was me, standing near the dining table at my father's birthday dinner in February. I was mid-sentence, explaining something about a work project to my uncle. Neutral, calm, unaware. Lena's voice amused. "See? Always like this, overthinking everything." The clip ended, 2 minutes and 17 seconds. I didn't feel angry. I felt confirmed. I saved a still frame showing the chat name and participant list, another showing the messages, another showing my face in the recorded clip. Then I closed the file. From that point on, I stopped wondering if I was misreading things. I moved into preparation. The opportunity arrived faster than I expected. On July 18th, my mother called with excitement in her voice. "We're doing a family dinner," she said. "Something special." "For what?" I asked. Lena answered in the background, loud enough to hear. "Just because," my mother continued. "Your sister wants to show something she's been working on, a presentation. About the house, the family, the future." I pictured the LLC invoice, the video, the chat. "Where?" I asked. "At Lena's place," my mom said. "Saturday, 7 o'clock. I checked my calendar. I was free. "I'll be there," I said. After we hung up, I didn't smile. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt ready. Over the next week, Lena became increasingly visible. She posted countdown stories on Instagram, shared behind-the-scenes clips, captions about family legacy and building something together. The comments were enthusiastic. She loved an audience. I quietly invited one. On Wednesday, I emailed my Uncle Daniel. He was a CPA, precise, neutral, respected in the family. "Quick question," I wrote. "Would you be willing to sit in on a family discussion Saturday? There might be financial details, and I'd appreciate a second set of eyes." He replied within the hour. "Of course. Happy to help." On Thursday, I asked Mark one simple question. "Is the group chat still active?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "Is my name still not in it?" "No," he replied. "Okay," I said. "Then don't mention this conversation." He didn't argue. And Friday night, I organized everything. Screenshots labeled by date, bank transfer summaries, the LLC registration, the invoice, the email Lena had forwarded by mistake, the screen recording. I didn't print anything. I didn't rehearse a speech. I just made sure I could access everything quickly. Saturday evening, I arrived at Lena's house at 6:55 p.m. The renovation looked exactly like the photos. Impressive. Clean lines. New appliances. Open floor plan designed for attention. The dining table was set for 8. Mom and Dad were already there. Mark arrived shortly after me. Uncle Daniel came a few minutes later, looking mildly curious. Lena greeted everyone with practiced warmth. "So glad you all made it," she said. "This means a lot." Dinner moved quickly. Conversation stayed light. Lena kept steering it back to plans, vision, next steps. After dessert, she stood and clinked her glass. "I wanted to share something," she said. "Just a little overview of everything we've been working toward as a family." She dimmed the lights and turned on the TV. A slideshow began. Photos of the renovation, bullet points, charts, a polished narrative of investment, sacrifice, growth. I watched quietly. She spoke confidently, referenced decisions as collective. 8 years, used "we" generously. At one point, she gestured toward my parents. "This couldn't have happened without you," she said. They smiled, proud. Then she gestured toward Mark. "And you, for always being supportive." Mark nodded, uncomfortable. She didn't look at me. The presentation ended to applause. Lena beamed. "I think transparency is important," she said. "So if anyone has questions..." I raised my hand, not abruptly, not aggressively, just enough to be seen. "Yes?" she said, surprised. "I do," I replied. The room stilled. "Before we move forward," I said evenly, I think it would be helpful to clarify a few things. Lena smiled tightly. Of course. I connected my laptop to the TV. I'll keep this brief, I said. I opened the first file, and just before I pressed play, I looked at my sister. She was still smiling. She had no idea what was about to be seen, and I let the moment stretch, long enough for everyone to lean in. I didn't rush. The room was quiet enough that I could hear the faint hum of the refrigerator behind me. Everyone's attention was on the screen, waiting. Lena stood near the end of the table, hands clasped, still wearing the expression she used when she felt in control. I clicked the first file. The TV displayed a still image, a screenshot of a group chat. At the top, clearly visible, was the title, Core Fam Journey P. Below it, the participant list. Mom, Dad, Mark, Lena. Not me. I didn't explain it. I didn't frame it. I let the image sit. My mother leaned forward slightly. My father adjusted his glasses. Lena's smile tightened almost imperceptibly. I clicked to the next slide. A highlighted message. She's getting too analytical lately. Let's not bring her into the money stuff. The timestamp was visible. The sender's name wasn't blurred. Silence deepened. My Uncle Daniel shifted in his chair, eyes fixed on the screen. The next message appeared. If she asks, just say, we already decided. Another pause. Then another. She doesn't need to see the numbers. It'll just create questions. I spoke for the first time. These messages are from a group chat created 8 months ago, I said calmly. I was never included. I was also told I didn't want to be. My mother turned toward Lena. What is this? Lena opened her mouth, then closed it. I moved on. The next slide showed the LLC registration. Company name. Lena's name listed as owner. Date of formation highlighted. This company was registered 8 months ago, I said. Before the renovation. Before the family video. Before I was told decisions were already made. I clicked again. The invoice appeared. Consulting fee media coordination, $8,500. Payment source, my parents' joint account. Uncle Daniel leaned forward now, hands clasped. He didn't say anything yet. He didn't need to. Lena's voice came out light, practiced. That's not what it looks like. I nodded once. That's why I kept going. The next file was the email. No need to involve her yet. It'll just complicate things. I highlighted the timestamp, the sender, the reply chain. Then I played the video. Lena's voice filled the room. See? This is where I keep everything. Way easier than looping everyone in. The chat messages scrolled past on screen. Then my face appeared. Unaware. Recorded without my knowledge. Lena's commentary followed, amused. Always like this. Overthinking everything. The video ended. I stopped it immediately. I didn't rewind. No one spoke. My mother's face had gone pale. My father stared at the screen, unmoving. Mark looked down at his hands. Uncle Daniel broke the silence first. Who approved this structure, he asked, his tone neutral. Lena swallowed. It was informal. Informal billing through a registered LLC, he asked. She didn't answer. He turned to my parents. You're funding this entirely? My father cleared his throat. We thought we were helping. Uncle Daniel nodded slowly. Helping usually involves disclosure. Lena finally spoke, sharper now. This was about efficiency. She complicates things. I met her eyes. I asked questions, I said. That's not the same thing. The room stayed quiet. I closed my laptop. I didn't bring this up to embarrass anyone, I said. I didn't post it. I didn't confront it privately because I was told repeatedly that I wasn't involved. I looked at my parents, so I stayed out of it. My mother's voice trembled. Why didn't you say something sooner? I did, I replied. I just wasn't heard. No one argued that. The evening ended without shouting, without accusations, without anyone telling me I'd gone too far. Lena didn't speak to me again that night. The consequences unfolded on their own. Within a week, my parents froze further transfers. Uncle Daniel reviewed everything. The LLC stopped billing. The group chat went silent. I received an invitation 3 days later. A new one. The title was simple. Family. I didn't join it immediately. I took time. I set boundaries. I asked for transparency. When I finally accepted, it was on my terms. Lena and I don't speak much now. When we do, it's careful, measured, real. My parents call again, not to inform, but to ask. I didn't lose my family. I lost the version of it that required my silence, and I'm fine with that.